Sam, the Frugal Hugel gardener. I'm out here in my yard this morning, and I'm gonna go ahead and prepare an area to do raised beds. So here we go. Okay, so right over here is the end of my house to my porch, and over there's the other end. It's a good big area. This whole square right here is 100% compost. It's 3 feet deep and really wide and long. Eventually I'm going to dig all this out. This is 100% horse manure. It looks like dirt. It's great compost. So whenever I need some, I just come in here and dig it up. So I have my tractor over here with my tiller on the back, and I went ahead and tilled this whole area. I leveled this off over here, and now I'm going to square it up and level it off. So anyway, this is the beginning of 16 foot by probably 5 foot or 4 foot wide, more than likely 4 foot wide raised beds, and there's going to be space between the house and the bed, and it's going to come all the way down 16 foot, and there'll be space in between so I could go all the way around. So, and the reason why I'm going to do this is over there in my scrap pile, I have a lot of 16 foot roofing panels, and that's what I'm going to go ahead and utilize. I just feel having my peppers over here will be better. It'll clear up a lot more room for the garden. And anyways, I'm going to go ahead and continue, and I'll eventually just keep doing little clips on it and you'll see it done. Okay, so I just finished up with the tractor in here. I'll show you what it looks like. I still have to level it up a little bit better, but this is a good start. And I have to put my downspouts under the ground. A lot of work, but I have the whole winter to do it, so I'm not in a hurry. You know, everything starts with an idea, and this was an idea, and I'm tackling this area. It should look nice by spring. Okay, so normally I keep all my clippings over here, which I have now. Like I said, from the house out, I want to leave a good amount of walk-in space, which I'm going to do. You never want to put plants right up against your house. It's not a good thing. So right up in here, I grade it really good. Remember, this is 3 foot down and really big, 100% composted horse manure with chips 3 foot down. So if I ever run short on horse manure, I could dig all this out 3 foot down and then fill it with sand or something. But for now, this is good. So here's a downspout. I want to run it so it's on the side of a bed and not in the bed. And right over here starts my banana plants going down. And this is a Florida Prince peach tree over here. This is going to grow really nice and tall. And here's 2 more in some pots over here. But this is what this area here is going to look like. So hey, I think I'm off to a pretty good start. We'll see what happens in the near future. Okay, so what I have is I have a little scavenger hunt list of what I need. I don't want to leave anything out on the video. So in order to make my raised beds, I have to level the ground. Check, I already did that. I just got to level it up a little bit more, but I tilled it under, packed it down. That's all good to go to put my raised beds on it. I got ground cover in the garage. I don't know if it's enough. I'm gonna have to go buy some more. The next is materials. I need 4x4s and 2x4s, deck screws, and fence posts and piping and stuff like that. I'm gonna go look at my scrap pile. Then I gotta assemble the beds. Then I gotta go look for cardboard. I gotta look for fresh chips, which I don't have. So I'm gonna have to steal from my Hugel culture area and put in composted chips. Hey, that's the way it goes. I'm gonna also need branches and leaves, so I'm going to go ahead and look for leaves and see what happens over there. I'll cut my hedges and use some of that, and go on yard waste day, go look for some leaves and stuff like that. So then I need composted chips. I'm going to steal it from my Hugel culture area. Unfortunately, that's what I need to do right now because I don't have a compost pile going on. Hopefully I'll have one this spring coming up. So I have horse manure. Here we go. Here's some horse manure here, and here's some horse manure down there. We'll go walk that way and check it out. So that's composted and aged horse manure. It's going to go into the beds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put branches down, horse manure down, more branches, more horse manure, food waste all the way on up, a little bit of topsoil, sandy topsoil, you know, Florida soil, mixed in with the composted horse manure. And I'm going to put an irrigation system in, then I'm going to plant, and then I'm going to cover up with straw or chips so the weeds don't come up in the beds. So with that said, I need to go look for some items that are on my list. So let's go check it out. Okay, so here's some horse manure right here. And as you can see, it looks like dirt, but that's horse manure. All this right down here on the ground, this is all horse manure. And right up over here, you can see the straw and everything else right on this. This is the freshest. You can see there's still chunks, but they break up easily. And it's going to go down to the newest section, all the way down here, which on the ground. Here you go. This is what I'm going to use. It's nice and cool. And if I come right up in here and break this up with my foot and feel it, it's nice and cool. That's what I want. So I got to come in here with the tractor and turn it over, put my thermometer in there and see how hot it is or cool. And that's what I'm going to be utilizing. I got to go get my tractor because right over here I have 3 foot by 16 foot sheets of roofing. What you do with this, you measure right to the middle here and you cut it, and that will give you 2 sheets. You really don't want to make that 3 foot tall, although you could, but 3 foot tall is just too much to fill up. And I'm going to be removing these once I make them. I'm going to be removing them because that section is all composted horse manure in the ground, and I'm putting the raised beds up above. But maybe next year towards the fall I'll remove the beds after I harvest everything, and then I'll plant in the ground when I have more chips to put on the top and stuff. For right now I'm going to be doing raised beds, and if I decide to do raised beds permanently, I'll still remove them, dig out all that horse manure, fill it in with sand, level it on up again, and use that horse manure somewhere else. So that horse manure is the gift that keeps on giving. Okay, so I have plenty of sheet metal, which is on my list. These are railroad ties if I ever need heavy metal for shelving to put stuff on. That's what it's going to go on. So as you can see, I try to save whatever I could and scavenge when I find stuff. So right over here is cinder block, which is always good to have some around. I had a bunch of it. I keep using it, and then I'll get some more. You look on Craigslist and Facebook, a lot of people want you to bust down the wall or just go pick it up and haul it away. So that's what I do. Now right over here, all these weeds are built up, but I have piping back there. All kinds of piping. You can see some of them standing up and some of them in there and some of them laying up that way. Well, those piping are going to be utilized for my bed. So everything's looking really well. Now for that bed, I am going to need to put deer barrier all the way around, so you know how I normally do that. I may put some electrical wire around, but I do have some tall gates over here that I could use for the entranceway. I don't know, it's a work in progress. So as I'm building it, I'll decide what I gotta do. But there's definitely gonna have to be a fence going around. I'm leaning more towards electric. It's easy to put up, it's by the house, so that should all do pretty well. Okay, so here's my Mexican sunflower. I'm gonna go ahead and take a lot of this green right here, and the green leaves are gonna be lasagnaed in there with the, you know, from the ground. I'm gonna have cardboard down, I'm gonna have ground cover down, the raised beds are gonna go in, and then from there I'll do some green, I'll put down branches, then I'll put more green, I'll put down branches once it builds up to about a foot off of the top. Then I'll put manure, and I'll put some composted chips like I showed you. It looks like dirt. And then I'll put some more manure and lay it on up until the top layer. And everything's gonna have the Mexican sunflower. It's really, really good compost, and I got plenty of it. Even though everything toppled over during the hurricanes, they're all coming back. So about time I'm ready to do that, I'll have plenty, and that's gonna be one nice healthy raised bed. Okay, so right over here after the hurricanes, all this is from my Mexican sunflower. You can see right here, these are the Mexican sunflower. It's a big pile. I'm gonna run that through my chipper and make powder out of it, and that's gonna get sprinkled into the layers as well. That's gonna make some really good compost. Then I have my bananas up here, and notice there's still some on the ground. They're buried down in there. So whatever bananas I have to chop and drop this winter, I'm gonna compost them, and they're going into the raised bed garden. That's gonna be a lot of nutrients going in there. Okay, so once again, what I do is I save scraps. So over here is some fencing. There's posts on the fencing. I'll take those posts out and utilize what I could. It's always good to save. And then on my fruit trees, after that hurricane, when they uprooted, I lifted them, and there's some fence posts on there that I'll be able to steal if I don't find any more. Show you some right here. Right over here, I'll be able to use some of those. And then around my garden on top of the shade cloth, I have some posts in there, but relatively I need more. So I'm gonna do a little scavenger hunting around town, try to find more. I think right over here, I have a few of them also. This is what I had around where I'm gonna put the raised beds over here. It looks like I have some top rails that I cut. I saved the scraps right over here. Over here, over here, over here. Plus I have more in the back. But this is what this area here is gonna look like. Once again, this is my Florida Prince peach tree. So's this one here, and so's this one here. And you can see all the leaves are dropping off of this and that. But the one in the ground, it's bigger, thicker, and retaining its leaves more. So when you have it in pots, they do good, but they really start to shoot up when they're in the ground. I got some places where I need to go plant them, so I may do that here shortly as well. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get my tractor out. I'm gonna move my truck and trailer, and I'm gonna go over there where my sheet metal is, because I gotta lift up the whole pile to get to the bottom. And I'm gonna bring over a sheet over here and see how it's gonna fit and lay it out. So let me get at it. Okay, so I got the tractor with the forks on it. I went ahead and removed the pile so I could get to the bottom. Now I have a 16-foot by 3-foot piece of roofing sheet metal, and I want to see if my beds are going to go this way or that way. So let's check it out. Okay, so right over here you can see it's 3 foot by 16 foot. So if I put a bed over here, I'm going to measure them that way. Now if I turn it to go the other way and have the beds go this way, there's less of a space. So I can fit 1, 2, 3, 4 this way or this way. I'm thinking this way, so when I walk along here, I could go up, go around, and come down, versus this way I won't be able to get in, and I'll only be able to go this way. So I think that's going to look good. Okay, so as far as height goes, look how tall these are. You definitely don't want to make your beds 3 foot. So I'm going to cut these down long ways and make them 1.5 foot. That will be right about to there, which is up to my knee. So these have ridges on them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you cut it straight down that center ridge, that would be 1.5 foot and 1.5 foot, which comes right up to your knee, which it's perfect to sit down on. Put an edge, a board all the way around it, you'll be able to sit on them. I think that's going to be the perfect length, 16 foot. 3 foot wide, actually 4 foot wide, and then 1.5 foot tall, and it'll be a little bit more than 1.5 foot about time you put your 2-inch trim all the way around it so you can sit on it. So anyway, what I gotta do now is go get a board, lay it on top, and see what the grade is. I'm gonna try to get it level the best I could. If it's off a little bit, that's okay, because you could prop up one end, and about time you put everything in it, the top portion will be level. And that's the most important part, is to get the top level so the water doesn't go one way or the other. So with that said, let me go and continue. Okay, so what I normally do is I just take a board, usually about 8 foot, but just right now to show you on here, I have a board, and I have a level, and I have a level where I could look at the top versus trying to bend down and look at the other ones. So when I put this level on there, I can see that it needs to come up a little bit over here like that to make it level. So what I'll do is I'll get in here with the tractor, and I'll just go ahead and keep doing it till it's graded level. And it could be going up a hill like that, it's okay, but from this side to that side, the length, I want it level. This way, when the bed's on there long ways, like this, it's not on an angle, it will be level like this. Side to side, it could be going up a hill, because you could level each bed going up a hill from side to side. But you don't want the length of it to be on an angle. So with that said, I got my work cut out for me, so we'll see you later. Okay, so I came in here and using a couple different rakes, I'm trying to get it level. And just to show you, even with the tractor, you still have to put sweat equity in. Because with the tractor, you can level it up, you could bring dirt in, you could do the best you could, but to do it perfectly, you need a level and you need a rake, and this is how I do it. So what I do with the rake is I keep going over it and I eye it up and I look to see, and then later on I'll take the level out and I'll go ahead and scrape and try to get it level again. Because from that end to this end, I only want like a 1/4 inch slope. Right now there's probably 2 inches of a slope or more. So I want like a 1/4 inch. That way the water still runs this way and does not puddle. It's going to take a lot of raking and a lot of attempts to get it done properly. But hey, who said garden was easy? So with that said, let me get going and I'll touch base with you in a bit. Okay, so I went ahead and hand raked it a whole bunch of times. I'll give you a little tour. That sun's in my face, so I'll go around this way. So as you can see, it's pretty level. Pretty level this way and coming down this way. Now over there by the house there's about 2.5 feet that's up probably about 4 to 6 inches, because I want all water to run away from the house. Never have any water run into your house. It'll undermine your foundation. So after it comes off of that ledge, which is going to be my walkway, that's where I start the leveling. I did about as much as I could do for today. I'll have to come back in here after we get some rain and stuff, and I'll eyeball it up and see how it looks. Besides, I still got to get some more material, so I have some time. But this is how it's looking so far. Back at you. Okay, so I'm outside first thing in the morning again, and I was experimenting and laying everything out to see how it fits best and how I would like it and how usable it would be. So I had to take into consideration a couple things. One was the sheet metal, second was the direction, and the third was the size and the spacing. So as you can see right over here, I got 50-inch walkways. That's so I could get my cart up there and cart plants and everything I need to bring up there instead of carrying everything. And the same thing on the back side, so the cart could go around and down the next aisle. Okay, so I wanted to make sure my pallets fit, so when I separate suckers from the banana plants, or I'm just propagating any other plant in some pots, I'd be able to put them on the pallets. I use pallets all the time to lift things up and move them around. It beats carrying just one pot across the property. Saves a lot of back work and a lot of time. You could pick up, look at that, like 9 of them at one time, big pots. So anyway, now that I have this, so everything fits, let me show you what it's going to look like. Okay, so right over here, these are 16 foot by 3 foot. I still have to cut them down the middle. These are my pallets. There's 4 beds, so 4 pallets could fit in the front of each bed. It looks nice, plus it's usable space. So right over here is the end of a bed. Then I have the center of the bed. Then I have the other end of the bed. And right over here I'll have a walkway. All this is going to be ground cover so weeds don't come in. And this is what the bed looks like all the way down. Remember, the sheet metal is going to go along all the sides, so no dirt and water is going to touch these pallets. These pallets are here just for aesthetics, just to look good. I can replace them at any time I want. And then this is where my cart will go. My cart will go, got a walkway. And once again, this is what it looks like. Now I had to make sure that this drain spout right here could still run down and under the ground without the bed being over it. And I could always put a rain barrel over here, as my friend Dylan on my gardening club said, and then the rain barrel could feed this and this, so it could feed 2 of these beds. And right over here I could put another rain barrel, and you see I used the corrugated pipe to get the water out of here so it doesn't sit. Well, I could do the same thing. I could have my rain barrel and it could feed both of those. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have irrigation over here going all the way down and going to all of them, so it'll be on a timer so they could get watered every day or every other day, whatever my water schedule is going to be. Okay, so this was a start. This is what it looks like. Now I got to take out my saw and cut that. Now when you cut sheet metal like that, there's a number of different ways you could do it. I have a tool that goes on an air compressor that cuts it, and it leaves a little strip that peels off. That it works great, but I don't really like that. I just take out my skill saw, I turn the blade around so the blade goes backwards, so the teeth are backwards. And when the teeth come up this way, it just cuts it, it rips it right down the middle, just really fast. So let me go ahead and tackle that. Okay, so I know someone's going to ask me how I cut these. So I'm going to cut one and show you how I do it. And after I cut it, I'm going to go over there and grind down the edge so I don't cut my hands. Because when you cut it with the saw, with the blade rotating backwards, it leaves some sharp edges on it. This is what I do. Okay, so that's 16 foot long. I just cut it, but this edge is sharp. So let's go over here and grind it down. Okay, so I got my cordless grinder, and I laid this up on my trailer so it's kind of on an angle but upright, and I just grind. Okay, so what that's doing, it's removing any little barbs that are on there, plus the sharp edge. Plus, I'm going to have the edge I cut facing the ground, so the top is the factory cut. Okay, so the edge feels pretty good. Still, you can cut yourself, but it's a lot better. So I'm gonna go over there and stand it up and show you what it looks like. Okay, so I've been at it all day. I went ahead and cut everything up and placed them in. I have things holding them up now, so don't even pay attention to that. But now I can see what I need beyond this point. So this is what it looks like. Okay, so this is the back row. This is what the beds look like. Aesthetic. I still got to get a beam to put from there to there. That would be the top. And then a brace coming up so the dirt don't push it out. But all in all, this is what they're looking like. And in the front of each, I'll have pallets with my potted plants on there. Okay, so this is rough, but this is what it looks like. My main thing was I wanted the walkways to be big enough for my cart. I wanted the sheet metal in, and I wanted something around it to give it a unique look. And I wanted mostly everything to be free. I didn't want to have to pay for anything. So it's looking good, and so far everything was free. So my plan's coming together. It's real windy out, so I had to put those supports up because everything was just blowing all over and blowing down on me and I couldn't see anything. So I think all in all it's looking pretty good over here. And all I gotta do now is go ahead and measure exactly. I want to come out off of the house and have everything straightened up and squared. I want it straightened up and squared like this, and straightened up and squared all the way down, so everything's all even, so the carts fit in, my walkways fit in. And I have to measure so I could get some ground cover. All this, I'm going to have to take that back down. I'm going to put ground cover down. Then I'm going to put all this back up over the ground cover. But by then, I'll have all my stakes and my pipes and everything to secure it. So I love it when a plan's coming into play. So back at you. Okay, so here it is. I have it all laid out. Got it all measured. Got things holding it up and stuff like that now. I got to measure to get more ground cover. I got to remove all this, put the ground cover down, put all this back, and I need supports, and I need a top rail to go all the way across. That way everything's going to be secure. But all in all, I love it when a plan comes into play, and it's working out. Okay, hey, so I'm out here again this morning, and I wanted to go ahead and put down some ground cover and at least get 1 or 2 beds established. I could worry about the other ones when I get some more. This is the leftover I had from the garden. So let's go ahead and get with it, and I'll show you how I do it. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is get some ground cover. This is leftover from when I did my garden. This is heavy duty, professional, nursery type ground cover. There'll be a link below and a description below. So I went ahead and measured from right about here, which is the end. Put a board on it so it doesn't blow over. And here's the end, but I want to go down a little bit longer than the end. So those there are 16 foot, and with the boards on it, it's longer. So I went 2 feet over. and it's when I got it cut, it's going to be a foot on this side and a foot on that side longer. And then I'll put a separate sheet going down that way. And I'll put a separate piece going down that way. And everything should match up and be overlapped. So it'll be a weed-free barrier. Okay, so just like I did in the garden, I have a straight edge. And I have a heat knife. It's a hot knife. I put it on a high setting, has a dial, and I'm gonna wait for it to get hot. And I have a board set up right here, so when I'm done with this, it can set on the board. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my foot on this and come over here and see if it's hot enough. Okay, it looks like it's hot enough. It doesn't take long. Okay, so basically what I did is I cut it with the hot gun, and what that does, it cauterizes it, and then it doesn't unravel. So I got a whole sheet here, and now I'm going to take this sheet and situate it in one of my aisles. Okay, so I could have took this and went all the way to the house and then all the way down, but I want to run some on that side long ways and over here long ways, and it'll overlap, keep the weeds out. I think it would work out better that way. I could have just went one strip all the way down. It's just whatever you prefer. So let's see how this fits. Okay, so I'm just going to drag it up over this way. Okay, so as you can see, it goes and it comes up the sides, and I did that on purpose. Now I'm going to go ahead and lift that up and tuck it under, and lift this up and tuck it under and set it back down. Remember, this is a weed barrier, so I don't want weeds coming up throughout here. So it's good that it tucks on under, and in the bed I don't need any on the bottom. So let me go ahead and do this, and I'll get back with you.